Let's round it out, Dalton, with the NFC West. Now we got the Arizona Cardinals here. Who's their dream fit? Let's say outside of Marvin Harrison Jr. right now.
I'll tell you what, this is something that you and I have talked about the last couple of weeks. It's like, man, we would just really love to see that. The Cardinals need a lot of defense. They were the lowest graded defense in the NFL by a wide margin last year. I think a guy in the middle that would help them is Jeremiah Trotter Jr. From Clemson, man. He's the highest graded linebacker in this class over the last 2 years. He can fit the run game. He can cover. He can blitz. He can do pretty much everything. He's a little bit thin. I think he's 230 pounds-ish. Like, there's times when you get downhill and can kind of get in his face a little bit. If you get physical with him, he has some issues. But I think the game's kind of getting away from that kind of linebacker anyway. Jeremiah Trotter Jr.'s game, it almost, man, I see shades of Levante David. And I remember there being similar complaints about David. And I also don't think he's quite as fast. David was freaky fast back in the day. But he can cover. He can do pretty much all of the other things outside of kind of being average when it comes to the downhill running game. But he's got the pedigree. He's got a wicked football IQ. He can cover. I think Jeremiah Trotter Jr. in the middle for the Cardinals in the third or even in the second round. Honestly, you could argue him. There's probably some scouts that think he's the best linebacker in this draft. You can see just the play style, how well schooled he is. I think if they got him, that would significantly upgrade their defense.
Yeah, that's actually a pick that I made. So we did a all PFF analyst mock draft. I think 32 of us had a different team. We did a full 7 rounds. We'll be dropping very soon. I had the Cardinals, actually, and I took Jeremiah Trotter Jr., I believe, in the 3rd round because I agree with you. I think that's the guy that they desperately need to get in that linebacker room. And if I'm a Cardinals fan, I really, really would want one of the top, I think, 4 linebackers in this draft. I think there's a huge, huge drop-off after that with Peyton Wilson, Edgerrin Cooper, Junior Colson, and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. being the ones I'm talking about. You could throw Cedric Gray potentially in there as well, but I think those are the guys that Arizona needs to get one of those guys in the draft because I think they really need help at linebacker, and I think Jeremiah Trotter Jr. would be a guy I really like. Obviously, he's undersized, about 6 feet tall, 228 pounds, but other than that, he has like almost everything else you want in a linebacker. He's one of the smartest players, I think, in this draft, honestly, which makes sense because his dad was a Pro Bowl linebacker for the Eagles for a long time as well, so that makes a lot of sense as well. Los Angeles Rams I have here. Obviously, Aaron Donald, arguably the greatest defensive player of all time. I'd probably make that argument. As he's retiring now, so you need help on that interior defensive line. Kobe Turner's there, who had a great rookie year. I love that. But if you add Johnny Newton to this defense, that'd be an unstoppable duo in the middle of that defense, man. I love the idea of Johnny Newton and Kobe Turner kind of being the heir apparents to Aaron Donald there. Johnny Newton, one of my favorite players in this draft, obviously. Terrific player. Not the biggest, and I think that's one of the things that is holding him back a little bit from being one of the best defensive tackle prospects we've seen in recent memory. But in terms of production, man, he has been unbelievable. So since 2022, he has 102 pressures, which leads all interior defensive linemen in the country. And he has 55 run defense stops in that span as well, which also leads all FBS interior defensive linemen. So All-American in each of the last 2 years. He is elite tape, elite production, really good technique as well. And obviously a terrific character. Check out the interview with him if you haven't already. He's an awesome dude. But yeah, I think Johnny Newton would be a great pick for LA. And I know they could use an edge defender. I also would like that too if they take an edge in the top 20, especially Latu and LA would be awesome. But if they go to interior defensive line and they want to replace Aaron Donald, I think Johnny Newton is the number 1 guy that I would look for them.
Well, he's got a personality made for LA too, doesn't he?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Absolutely, that would just be electric. I could just see him walking around Hollywood. But San Francisco here, and you took an early fit from me. I would really like to see Graham Barton in San Francisco. Yeah. I think the same thing. He could help him anywhere. But I'm going to take another guy that we love that we've talked about since probably October as somebody who's just being criminally underrated. And that's Javon Foster from Missouri. Man, look, since 2021 in this class, he's actually the 3rd highest graded tackle in this class behind Joe Alt and Talisi Fuaga. He's got an 87.7 outside zone run block grade, which would fit their system perfectly, just perfectly. Look, some people think, he's got subpar athleticism, pass protection, can he do it? He never showed us at Missouri that he couldn't do it, and that's in the SEC, blocking guys like James Pearson, Dallas Turner, all these guys that they have to block on a yearly basis. Look, I think Javon Foster is the sleeper tackle in this draft. I think he's a perfect scheme fit for the 49ers. He might be able to compete for the starting right tackle job right now if he acclimates himself in pass protection. If not, maybe he's a candidate for maybe 2 years from now taking over at some whenever he decides to retire. Maybe Trent Williams will play as long as Tom Brady and still be great. But what if Javon Foster was the guy who took over down the line for Trent Williams at left tackle in San Francisco? I wouldn't hate that at all. I think whether he's a developmental guy in pass protection or an immediate starter because of his run block abilities, Javon Foster should be a valued guy in the middle rounds of this draft. And San Francisco, for the scheme fit of it all, would be, and they're another team, Christian Haynes also would be a good fit on the inside. But I think if there's a team that could get Javon Foster and develop him into something, it's San Francisco.
Dude, the amount of zone blocking they run too, they're one of the highest rates of zone blocking in the NFL, and he's a terrific zone blocker. I think that's a home run pick as well. Yeah, the 49ers ran zone blocking last year at the 6th highest rate in the NFL. About 56% of the time they ran zone blocking when they were running the ball. So I love Javon Foster too, man. And right now, look at the consensus board. He's 131 on the consensus board, which means he's a late 4th round prospect, according to all the big boards and mock drafts out there. San Francisco picks at 132, so that's one pick right behind where he's slated to be right now. So if they can get him in the late 4th round, I think that's an awesome pick for San Fran. They're probably going to go offensive line earlier in the draft to try to get a more premier talent, but I think Javon Foster, I agree with you, man, should be a day 2 prospect, and right now he's projected as a late 4th round, early 5th round pick, and I think that's criminal right now for how good he has been. All right, rounding out this video with the Seattle Seahawks. So admittedly, I'm not the biggest fan of this guy. I'm a lot lower on him than I think the consensus is, but I still think this would be a good fit for Seattle in the first round if they wanted to take him. Is Troy Fautanu, the offensive tackle from Washington. Now, there's a couple reasons for that. One, he's an excellent pass protector. You see right there, 88.2 pass blocking grade. He moves unbelievably, man. He's one of the best athletes in this class at offensive line, in my opinion. Also, there's another reason I think he also, fit need-wise, I think it really fits for Seattle, who has already a good tackle duo of Abraham Lucas and Charles Cross, but they could use help on the interior offensive lineman, and I do think Troy Fautanu can be a starting interior offensive lineman at guard or maybe even center in the NFL. I think he could do that, and then eventually, say if Lucas or Cross doesn't work out, he could kick out to tackle as well. And then, of course, another reason why this is a great fit is that Ryan Grubb is now the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks, who was the offensive coordinator for Washington. So there's some connections there, and he obviously coached up Fautanu at a really high level. I think that'd be another reason why I could see Seattle preferring Troy Fautanu in the first round at number 16 overall. So, again, I'm not the highest on him. I think he's closer to like the Amarius Mims, J.C. Latham tier, and probably even behind both of them, in my opinion, then closer than the Alt and Fuaga and Fashanu tier. I don't think he's in that tier, but I still think that this is a good fit for Seattle, who needs help on the interior offensive line, could potentially need help at tackle down the line, and I think Fautanu could do both at a high level, and plus he's got the connection there with Ryan Grubb too. So I think it's a great way for Seattle to fit that need in the draft.